Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be looking at another retrospective on the Division 1, and this is something where we're going to be looking at game modes. We're going to be looking at one specific game mode just to talk about it, see if that's actually something that provided value in the Division 1, and maybe make a case why it should show up in the Division 2. Now, before I jump into the rest of the video, I just wanted to take some time to appreciate you guys and your support on my last video about my book project that I was working on, and some of you already kindly picked up a copy, so I do appreciate you guys so much for doing so. You didn't have to, but you did so as well. Thank you very much once again. All right, let's jump into resistance mode, and in my gameplay footage here, you're seeing Powerhouse. So one of the really cool things about this mode was actually brought into the game in order for players to be able to have kind of a very strong game mode, because we'd had survival, which was a solid game mode. We had underground as well, which was also a very good game mode. And then a lot of the community was in a place in the rut saying, it's nice to see more content. And so the developers, who had actually said that they weren't going to be expanding the game any further, eventually backtracked and went back and brought this resistance mode. Now, I know a lot of people have said the Division 2 is dying, it's dead and all that, but I remember around this same time in the lifespan of the Division 1 that I was making the exact same videos saying that the Division 2 wasn't dead, talking about the Division 2 before they brought this resistance mode, which saw a lot of people actually come back to the game and enjoy it. It was like an open sandbox PvE area where a lot of the factions were now working together. And so this was something for players to do. The lore wasn't too strong. The amount of content, though, and the nature of the content that actually was brought out was actually very good. It was like a weird, they wouldn't call it a PvE dark zone, but I think that's kind of what it was. It was just short of the dark zone because there were no extractions and there was no possible way for you to be able to, get loot chests in there that you needed keys to open, if you don't know what I mean. But when you went into the resistance mode, which is kind of like a horde mode with waves of enemies, different difficulties, and different kind of environmental stressors on you or you and your team, you actually had to bear through them and try to open specific locations that had these chests. So taking out enemies were things that actually generated points. The faster you took them out, the more they generated, and then you had a specific amount of enemies, and then these objectives that you had to do to be able to gain points to open these chests. Within these chests had the higher possibility of giving you classified gear or exotic items. And this is what made this mode actually very good, because the classified items were kind of sparse, but when you went into resistance, you had a higher chance of getting these items while you were farming. And so this game mode was very critical for the game to ensure the addition of 3 extra game modes on top of the incursions. And so I think this is one of the things that the Division community is asking for, because the reason I'm actually doing this video, I was looking through some of the past state of the games. I wanted to kind of clip one of the portions where Frederick Thylander said, we're looking at some things in regard to movement coming in the future. And this was as a response of the PvP community actually saying, hey, we're looking, to see if, the movement of the game would change, because right now the current movement is not satisfactory for PvP. Now, as much as I hate the chicken dance of Division 1 PvP, apparently that's what made it fun for a lot of people, because it's kind of twitchy in a sense. That's, I think, what the PvP nature is. But I don't think the developers are going to go back to that movement system, but I think they're probably going to make an adjusted movement system, maybe put it on a PTS, have the community that plays PvP test it out and see what they think, because I think it's going to have to be something where people can, get their hands on and kind of feel and maybe give a community-wide response in regard to doing that. So I was looking for that clip, but I could not help but start scrolling through the comment section of one of the State of the Games. I think State of the Game October 9th or October 19th. I can't necessarily remember. And the comment section was filled with comments asking, where are the game modes? Where is survival? Where is underground? Where is resistance? And to me, I think resistance is actually a solid mode that can actually be added to the game if they're saying we don't have plans for survival, we don't have plans for underground, which everybody knows that, or everybody perceives that that's probably going to be a thing that's added in year 2 for paid DLC content or some kind of rebranding of these systems. But nonetheless, a mode like Resistance, I think, should be in the game. Like hardcore mode beta already is like a slice. It's like taking a piece, a slice out of a whole loaf of bread. That's what hardcore mode, feels like right now. Because if you guys remember, I made my video on hardcore mode, if I were to design my own hardcore mode, and I think I gave a detailed, analysis on how I feel like a better hardcore mode can be done that will give it depth and will give it replayability. So that is a game mode already. But what we have is, 6 months in, we're just beta testing a potential game mode that may or may, we don't know if it's even going to be released fully for the community. So I think this whole topic of discussion is to highlight the fact that not just is it, a matter of content being missing from the game, it's a matter of game modes and rewards to attach to those game modes. And this is the working formula for Tom Clancy's The Division. I mean, it's a tried, tested, and true solid formula that actually does work. Because if you think about it, I remember, the matchmaking for Resistance when everybody was trying to get their full 6-piece classified gear. I mean, is there anything wrong with taking the current gear sets that we have right now and working on, classified versions of them? Question mark. I think there's nothing wrong in doing that. That would be a nice experiment for players to say, okay, of all the, I don't know what the number of gear sets that we have in the game, right now, but I think we have about 5. We have aces and eights. Sorry, we have ongoing directive. We have True Patriot. We which other one do we have? We have the spare tip of the spare, and then so these are 4 that I can remember off the top of my head. I don't remember if we have any more. Forgive me. But if you took these gear sets and you started making a classified version of them, where right now everyone's able to get 4 pieces, they make the other 2 pieces available in terms of, okay, you have to go farm classified versions of these, which now give you extra set of bonuses that you can get. So the 5 and the 6-piece bonuses are now, in a sense, justified. And then they attach them to these game modes where you can go in there, farm hordes of enemies, and get a possible chance of getting a drop of these items. I think it's actually going to be fun. I mean, I don't think, anything needs to be done less than that. That is what The Division, in my opinion, feels like. You create new rewards, you create strong gear sets that will work in different aspects, or strong items, maybe exotics that are, or weapons that are able to actually, attract the community to play in the content, and then, putting a mode that allows for people to farm them. It's what Incursions were. It's what, the underground kind of was as well, because it was a farming route for people to be able to try to get themselves some exotic weapons as well. And so was even, survival at a point. Everybody thought the MDR could come from survival caches, but just seemed like survival did not provide enough rewards. And so I know people have cited the data saying a lot of players didn't extract from survival. Well, that's because you got more rewards actually from doing other things, and survival was more like a labor of love than anything else. But I think rewards will drive the replayability of game modes is exactly what I think it is. I mean, the Eagle Bearer drove the community mad. A lot of people, could not get into the game mode, which is another aspect that is a whole point of discussion later on, and then some other people, made their way in and farmed for hundreds and hundreds of hours before they could even get themselves the Eagle Bearer. So it's a working formula. The only thing is they just don't need to, pull that stunt again and create a game mode that a lot of the community cannot engage in. I mean, sorry, it's a Division, it's not Destiny. I understand people are saying, Destiny is this one again, but Destiny has a very different demographics than the Division and the Division 2. So that's why I wanted to make this video. I wanted to point this out. I feel like this is a very critical aspect to the game, and I do not want for the community to just be in a place where we're in a rut saying, okay, we need more things to do in the game, when the obvious formula of using game modes is a thing, and the developers have not in any way responded with any kind of hints that they're looking forward to doing this. So I guess we're gonna see what happens down the road in the future. Thank you guys very much for your time and audience watching the video. I appreciate you guys so much. For those of you who are, having your breaks right now or who may still be working, I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas. The holidays are already upon us, and I hope you guys have a wonderful time. And I'll see you in my next video. Peace.